All right, so we are approaching the end of this portfolio. The next little bit we're going to be doing is looking at resistance. Okay, so remember we spoke about moving from current operating practices to best operating practices to world-class. And if we're going to be moving that way, there's going to be resistance, because any kind of change requires, sort of an upset, stirring of the way that things used to be. And so people are going to push back. And so we're going to be looking at how to handle that. So if you went back to your dealing with or overcoming resistance in Form U, you're going to see a whole bunch of things that we can expect. And so let me just put it here. Why do people push back? Well, because of fear. People are scared of the unknown, and so there's fear. You're moving people outside of their comfort zones. Okay, so they're no longer comfortable and they're going to push back. They don't perceive it as a need. Okay, so why on earth do we need to change it? Don't fix what's not broken. No faith in the process. Okay, so often they've said, have you done your research? Have you done your homework? Do you know that this is going to work? So they don't trust the process. Lack of knowledge. Okay, so they don't understand the process. They're not able to do it because they haven't been given the right training. So lack of knowledge, lack of trust. Whoever's going to be pushing this change out, maybe they don't trust them. Maybe they're not sure that this person knows what they're doing. Heavy-handedness by leaders. So if I go in and I say, this is the way things are going to happen, you better do it, or otherwise there's disciplinaries, well, they're going to push back. So you've got to do it. You've got to be compassionate. You've got to be slow. You've got to take them by the hand and move them through your change. And then personal preference. I don't like it this way. I used to do it this way, and that's what I want to do. So everyone's going to have a different reason for pushing back. But let's take a look at this chart that we're going to have to complete in our portfolio of evidence. So remember, we said we're going to make some changes. And let's go to the changes that we're going to make. Now, if we are going to change, okay, so why are we moving to best practice? So remember, we looked at best practice, and we're going to be moving a current operating idea into a best practice, okay? So now we're going to categorize our ideas into 10 areas. So tell me why people don't want to move to your best practice. Maybe there's no funds. Maybe they don't have the training. Maybe they haven't got trust. Maybe they don't have the right tools. Maybe the materials have to change, and that's going to be a huge issue. Maybe the supplier is not credible. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of reasons why people might push back. So you take 10 ideas of why they're going to push back, okay? And then you're going to look at the bottom of this graph, and you're going to tell me the people that are likely to be affected by your changes. Okay, so let's just take a look at the graph, and then we can move back. Okay, so over here will be the reasons for not wanting to implement. So let's say costs, materials, lack of training, fear, change of supplier. So you're going to put down all the reasons why these people don't want to move to best practice, okay? Underneath here would be the people that are going to be affected. So maybe it's the finance manager, because he has to pay out the bills. Then it could be your team. Then it could be the production manager. Then it could be the head of research. Then it could be the MD. So who are the people that are going to be affected? I'd say look at about 4 minimum, all right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at where do you think you're going to get resistance. So let's go. FD, okay, financial director, he has to pay the bills. Costs, okay. So is he going to be resistant? Okay, now anticipated resistance is that we think he's going to be resistant. So over here, we will do a red dot. Okay, so I don't know if I've got my highlighters. All right, let's see. So let's say this was red, and then I'd put a red dot there. Okay, so my production manager, he's also worried about costs. I'm going to put a red dot there. My team, they're not worried at all about costs. So I'm going to put a green circle there because, again, green means that there's going to be no resistance. My MD, well, he wants it to happen. So he's not worried about costs. We're going to put a green dot. So this is anticipated resistance. The MD might have a different kind of resistance. He might believe that it's not necessary. So not necessary is this one. And so I'll put a red dot there because I think I'm going to have to deal with his resistance. And we'll put a red dot there. So you got to color code all the people with all the problems. So if you think there's going to be resistance, you put a red dot. If you go, there might be resistance, you put an orange dot. If you don't think there's going to be resistance at all, you put a green dot. So you're going to have to steal your kids' coloring stuff or their crayons, and you're going to work with green, you're going to work with orange, and you're going to work with red. Now, this is the anticipated, but there might come a time where there is real resistance. And so let's say the finance director does shut it down. Then you're going to take a cross. So actual resistance, you're going to take a cross and you're going to put it under there's the FD, there's costs, and you put a cross, 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 because you did anticipate the resistance. So it was a red dot, and now there is a cross over it, okay? So over here will be record actual, okay? So if you have a red cross, implemented strategy to deal with it, okay? Orange, some action was necessary. Green was all clear. So if you see that there is a problem, just put a cross. Don't worry if it's red or green or orange, just put a cross because then we know that resistance was encountered there. So you're going to fill in this chart for the reasons on the left, and then the people influenced on the right, and then you're going to do reds and greens and oranges. So the anticipated is dots, and where you saw real resistance, you're going to put crosses. Okay, so I'd like to see how that goes. All right, so if you can do that for me, that would be fantastic. Okay, so that's that section done.